Hello Capricorn, and welcome to your reading for the month of March. What do you have lying ahead? Well, let's see together. What is your plant spirit ally for the month? You have received raspberry. So I did shuffle the cards just off camera and pulled it right here for you. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, but I am going to show you the full image from the booklet because it's a much clearer image. How beautiful is that? And the main message for you in March, Capricorn, is to create space. Absolutely wondrous. So we're going to tell you what Maya has to say about her card, and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my feelings around the plant spirit for raspberry. Raspberry is Rose's younger sister. Sweet and wild, but steady-handed. She loves the earth and its small creatures, so her abundant branches twist and crawl, creating nests for birds and sanctuaries for snails. She'll rock the babes and scurry about with toddlers, rarely giving in to the gravitas that permeates most of her family members. Laughter floats through her leaves as she flexes and twists. You can be like this too, she says, demonstrating pliability, earned by drinking deeply of mineral-rich soil. Sit with her and she'll share with you the secret of weaving space and creating strong containers for the emptiness that new life needs in order to thrive. When raspberry appears, look to how you are or are not nurturing the space within. The reflection here asks us to consider how we do not make space for ourselves in our daily lives or create structure that allows us to grow and fully express our dreams. Before creating in the world, raspberry teaches us that we must learn to hold space within ourselves. Is there room for you in your mind and heart, or are your thoughts filled with the needs and schedules of others? Do you have guilt or toxic thoughts popping up when you contemplate claiming space for yourself, be it mental, physical, or emotional? Are you fearful of taking up too much space, intellectually or physically? A few suggestions for rituals here include: create a special chair with a side table for tea and reflection. Feels very English, Capricorn. Create a corner in the garage or basement and turn this into some kind of art studio where you can create beautiful things. Or a bit of garden to plant as you wish. Or clear spot on top of the fridge where an altar is out of the way of tiny hands. The quote here is by Anne Lamott from Bird by Bird. You get your intuition back when you make space for it, when you stop the chattering of the rational mind. This is a really interesting card for you Capricorns because Capricorn energy is very organized most of the time, depending on the rest of your placements in your chart, of course. But there is a love of order, of structure, of knowing how things are operating, knowing things are going according to plan, perhaps. Within that, perhaps sometimes your intuitive inner sacred self can take a back seat. A good question this month of March to consider and work through for the entire month is, am I allowing the balance between my rational, logical self and my intuitive, spiritual, emotional self? Am I allowing things to flow, or am I trying to micromanage every element? Raspberry has many different energies, to be fair, and one of them is very sexual. I think raspberry is a super sexy energy from its colour, that deep pink, and I'm a big fan of black and pink together, by the way. I think that is a sexual combination. So you might find that this is an area in which you are being asked to re-examine whether or not you are making space for your personal needs this month. Are you getting what you need, what you want, what nourishes you? Over on Patreon, we talk a lot about the inner sacred grove, and that's how I personally in my Celtic path have created an inner visualization for the inner sanctum. There's different ways of seeing your inner sacred space, and everybody's different. So if it doesn't resonate for you to see an inner sacred grove, then by all means go to your inner cave or your inner building or whatever it might be. But for me, I suggest going into an inner sacred grove to connect with plant spirits, to plant seeds, to do a little gardening, a little weeding, and to create some boundaries. Boundaries have actually been the main focus for us through the cycle under Bridget, and are likely to continue on because of the encroachment of boundaries in the world at large and having a knock-on effect through the spiritual ecosystem. You may find that people are pushing your boundaries a little bit throughout March, and you have to remember that no or I don't want to is a whole sentence. You can feel obligated to other people a little bit too much. You might find that you have naturally ascended to the organizer role or the boss role or somebody who has the answers, and people may be taking liberties with this a little bit, and you may have to push back. You may have to remember that yourself is sacred, and you cannot keep giving until you burn out. It's not a healthy way to be, Capricorn, and it's not allowing for you to get creative. Capricorns can be wonderfully creative. And if you heard the words kind of like artwork and things of that nature, and you kind of scoffed or sniffed at the idea, that to me feels like an unhealed place within, that you have taken on board the idea that this is a waste of time, and things of this nature are not productive enough. They're not paying the bills. They're not serving the grand vision of where you want to be. But if you do not nourish your inner self and all of your expressions, you're going to find yourself very closed off. You're going to find yourself unable to continue when moments get tough and feel like drudgery, because if the drudgery is all there is, there's very little point to it. You were not born, created, you do not live just to work for somebody else's vision. You were not born just to do jobs, fill orders, follow instructions, and then drop off the planet. You are here for your grand vision. And sometimes that means thinking outside the box. And in this case, outside the box is inwards. It's in that inner sacred space, and allowing yourself to affirm that you are sacred, even if you do not feel like it sometimes. And that's okay. You have to get a little bit in touch with your inner child, especially if, there is no childlike energy within your particular life. There might be, and you might be able to reflect that within yourself. Remember to have a little bit of fun this month, Capricorn. Remember to really connect to that raspberry plant spirit. Take it into you. You can eat raspberry, you can drink raspberry, you can include it in all sorts of ways. And then you can just ingest those energies, imbibe them, take them deep within your physical body to help you remember that the spiritual inner body is just as important. So play, have fun, be silly, do something that makes you giggle, even if it's just a few moments every day. I hope you have a wonderful month, Capricorn. And don't forget to check out your rising and moon sign for additional information. And if you would like to have a weekly reading, you can find that on Patreon. And if you would like a deep monthly reading, you can find me there too. Many blessings, darlings, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon.